To answer the question, we, especially as males and females, we listen and communicate differently. Men are direct with their communications when they're talking to other men, because there's always a low level of violence that could happen. So you have to be measured and careful and straight to the point with your words. Women often talk around the issue, they'll get there, but it's a little bit, the path is a little bit longer because you use more descriptive words, and a lot of women, not all, I'm not going to make that mistake again. A lot talk with their feelings and instead of being direct, because they look at being direct as being rude or slamming or shaming.
You know what? You're right. We do tend to take things a little more sensitive when someone is direct with us, because it's also how you project that directness towards a woman. And so a lot of us women can be sensitized when it comes to that, especially when it's coming from a male.
Right.
I understand what you're saying, and we tend to talk so much that it confuses, or sometimes it derails from what the topic is about, and so it takes that guy in a blank moment, and you lost him.
And the typical responses, and Dr. Seductive told me once, it's not what you say, it's how it's presented. Don't put it in a dog bowl.
It's right.
Perception.
It took me a while to understand that. I can't say, "Ooh, you stink." I could say, "Hey, let's take a shower together. I'll wash your body and you wash mine."
That's what I'm talking about. Unless it's your child and you can just tell them, "Sorry, you stink. You go take a shower."
So with that being the premise, a lot of times when you're triggered, when something has an ounce of truth in it, it becomes, dang, I really don't like to hear what I'm hearing. So there are four typical responses. There's shame, meaning I'm gonna do something to bring, to try to shame you and to be quiet. Insult, saying whether it's an overt or covert insult. Guilt, why are you treating me like this? What did I do to you? The need to be right. The need to be right. I don't care. I'm wrong, but I'm going to be right. And I'll keep arguing until I get my way. So with those, it becomes, when some people hear what they don't want to hear, they get defensive. They get defensive. And defense, and like I said, it usually goes in one of those four type of responses: shame, insult, guilt, or need to be right. Yo, mama black said, why are you saying this about not all's like that,
right?
And things of that nature. So with that, you have to understand that there is a way to say something, and it's not exactly what you say.
It's how.
It's what. Not even how. It's how it's perceived.
Well, yeah.
Anson hit that on the head. Because I could say, chocolate pearl, I like your smile. Depending on how you feel, you say, what about my smile? What about
That's
my
true.
smile?
That's
so
true.
It's not what I said. I said, Miss Millie.
Well, that goes to almost goes back to what's understood don't need to be said once you put it out there from the beginning.
Right. But what I'm saying is that, like I said, it's not really what's said or how it's said. It's how it's received. Because I can say, Miss Millie, I like your glasses. They go with your hair. What do you mean? Are you saying I can't see? Had nothing to do with what I said.
But you know what, Doctor, I feel so good. I like what you said. I love what you said. But isn't it also dependent on the mood at the time as well?
Yes. And that's when you have to, what we used to say in the military, you have to know your audience.
Right.
Know
fill the
who
room.
you-
Know the
right.
know how to
Know
fill
who,
the room.
know who
right.
know who you are communicating with. If you
Or
know
who
their
you're
hot
working
button,
with.
right? If you know their hot button topics, and
don't
it's not
discuss
gonna. Well, no. Sometimes you have to, but don't go there unless it's absolutely going to move the conversation forward.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of
That's
us get
good
stuck
advice.
in the hamster wheel.
Yes.
I say this, you say that. I push your button, you push my button, and
Right.
then you can do it in such a nice, nasty way. That's
right. And
that's the key
the
to
conversation does not get advanced, and there's no resolution because you're stuck. You're stuck in that loop because you're in your feels.
But what about if you get in your feelings and the conversation continue getting heated? Isn't it best to let the conversation go for the moment and go back and revisit it?
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. You need to step
should.
back.
You should
and regroup.
That is a mostly effective conflict de-escalation technique.
But you know what? I've communicated with my psychologist. Yes, I see a psychologist and love her to death, and I love my coach. But I had a situation with my daughter, and she told me when it escalated to a certain point, I should have said, okay, hold on. Until you and I can communicate in a much better level, I think we need to end this conversation for another time. And that way, that person will see, okay, wait a minute, maybe I am escalating, or maybe it is an argument, maybe I am. It gives us a time to regroup. So when that person goes their way and we go our way, we go and think about what was said, and then maybe we can come back together and have a better outcome instead of us just constantly one person's yelling, because I wasn't going to yell. Right. I'm not getting my pressure up.
The technique is mostly effective, but then the other person can look at it and say, well, they're trying to shut me down, or they're trying to shut down, and I have to get my point across. It's like I said, you have to understand how you communicate. You have to understand the person you're talking to, and you have to understand when to say we're not going to go. We have to agree to disagree and walk away. Like you said, come back, and then when you have to push through those arguments. That's all I got.
Right.